What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Primetime Sports Podcast, hosted by Joey Miller. So today is the start of the NHL season. I'm going to give a post-season preview of this year, talk a lot about the Bruins and the Islanders. I'm going to have the sports guru Mike Hurley join me, and the King of Hasbrouck Heights, Dan Behrens, join me for this episode. We'll start off with some off-season talk, probably, get into the Bruins and the Islanders, and then some season predictions with maybe some awards predictions and what we think the NHL playoffs will look like. It'll be a good episode, though, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. I'm going to get them on. I'll be back with you in just 1 minute. And here we are, back. The King of Hasbrouck Heights, Dan the Man. We have the sports guru, Mike Hurley. How we doing, boys?
Doing well. Good hat trick episode.
Here we go. Yeah, the big three. Look at this. Quite a big three here. We do have a picture from the BC football game, first game of the year. So, obviously, that was the first time of our big three. It's our second time all of us together here talking sports. So, here we go. We talked some Isles back then, and now here we are back again. Now for a formal episode, which would be nice. So, it's been a while since then, though. A couple things have happened. But we'll start off with the Bruins, talk some Isles, and then we'll give our predictions for the season, like I already prefaced in the intro, and then obviously with us talking before the episode. So, what do you guys want to start, Bruins or Isles?
Saving the best for first.
We'll start Bruins? All right, we'll start Bees.
Let's go Bees. Yeah.
We'll start Bees. All right, so the Bruins last year obviously had a historic regular season, and then obviously things didn't really work out in the playoffs. They lost a good amount of pieces from last year to this year. The biggest one, obviously, Patrice, Bergeron, and then Krejci. Two big losses there. If you look at the amount of players they lost, there's no one that, would make up what you lose at Patrice Bergeron, no matter who you bring in. So that's obviously the biggest loss. Krejci's a big loss. What were your thoughts, Mike, on the Bruins offseason? Which they brought in a good amount of pieces, but as I said, nobody can make up what Patrice Bergeron brings to your team.
I mean, it's just pretty sad. Sad to see. Best player for many years, Bergeron. Krejci, too. Running mates. Top two centers are gone, and who do they have to replace them? Nobody. Nobody.
No one.
Maybe Matthew Patra. We can get into him a little bit. If you don't know who he is, he's probably going to be playing second line center.
Yeah, he was great in the preseason. What do you have, 3 goals in the preseason?
Yeah, he's been good in the preseason. Good to see a young guy actually put the puck in the net because Sweeney can't draft offense. But yeah, they loaded up big time. At the deadline. And that's the big issue is that Bergeron left, Krejci, they both retired. I got my own theory on that. I'll get into it, but they also lose Orlov, Hathaway, and big one, Bertuzzi.
Bertuzzi's huge.
As well as 2 first-round picks. So we had no first-round pick in the draft, no first-round pick this coming draft, no Bergeron, no Krejci, no Bertuzzi, no Orlov, who's great, and
Connor
Hathaway,
Clifton.
Yeah.
Connor Clifton, your boy.
Clifton's gone.
Also gone. Budget
And
beast.
can't forget about my favorite Taylor Hall.
Taylor Hall's gone. That's my boy.
Oh, thank goodness they had to get rid of him.
Dude, 16 goals
Although
last
I do
year,
have a picture with him. He did sign a puck for me. So
Taylor Hall, yeah, he was a beast when he was out there. It was just he didn't take shots, and the talent's
he
there.
didn't shoot enough, yeah.
The talent's there.
Big gripe is he didn't shoot enough.
He's a good player, but was making too much.
Yeah. If he applied himself, I think he'd be, probably one of the best players on the team, top 3 or 4, but he wasn't that. But he should be.
Don't worry, Bruins fans can still watch him game 1. He's going to be on the other team. Playing with
Chicago.
Bedard and probably going to score on us. But
Nick Foligno, too, Chicago.
Yeah, Uncle Nick gone. Both those were money moves, though. Hall makes $6 million. We couldn't even afford to keep the current roster. And everyone thought when you got rid of Hall in the trade, based on the timing, that they were going to sign Bertuzzi. They both play left wing. Bertuzzi's a little younger.
Yep.
Bertuzzi was a better player in the playoffs, a little grittier. Maybe not as naturally talented, but, fan favorite when he came over. He was great.
100%.
And then he goes and signs with a division rival who is way over the salary cap anyways.
Yeah.
So they get the deal done without caring about the money, and we haggle about the money, and he goes up there for a 1-year deal.
$5.5 million.
Tough to see because he was a good player, and I think he would be a good player on the team right now because we need the help. I also think we might be able to get him back because he's only got a 1-year deal up there. They just signed Matthews. They got to re-sign Nylander, another guy. They said he's a friend of Pastrnak, I guess. And he held out big time for money in last contract, so he might do it again. I'm not saying we have the pocketbook for it, but he might be leaving that team.
Yeah, that'd be a big loss. I think this is all in year. This is an all in year for Toronto. I think this is make or break for them going all in.
Yeah, and I know people, casual fan might not want to get into the minutia of salary cap, but there isn't such a big deal in hockey. Is that unlike other sports, it's a hard cap league, so you can't actually suit your whole team up if you're over the cap.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think last year one team somebody had to play man down. It might have been the Penguins or somebody.
The Giants in 2021. We didn't That was the
you have to
NFL
play
too.
with fewer players.
You could find a way to get around to the NFL, but I guess not hockey.
Yeah, NFL's fake. Look at the Chiefs; they pay everybody. I mean,
Signing bonuses.
teams that are perennial, like winning teams, can pay everyone in those leagues. NBA, same thing.
Yeah, and they just restructure everyone.
MLB is none. A luxury tax.
And no one renegotiates a contract in the NHL because the money is way different. A guy who makes $10 million, like McDavid's not going to say, "Oh yeah, cut my salary in half so we can get a defenseman." Like, it's just not going to happen.
I mean, Dan was saying that last year in the mod we were talking. He was saying how the difference between $5 million and 5.5 or 5.75 is a big difference. And the way I see it, if I was a GM, I don't care. I just throw money away. Like, hockey would not be the sport for me. If I was a GM, hockey would not be the sport for me. I throw money out. If I was a GM.
This is my gripe with Sweeney, okay? Sweeney tries to save himself every year at the deadline by mortgaging the future. And he does make good acquisitions more often than not. I think he has a good hit rate at the deadline. He brings in
trades,
good guys.
He does bring in some good trades, yeah.
I mean, even his very first trade, trading away Lucic, we got him right now. But at the time, it was a great move. And we end up with all these first-round picks, but we have nothing to show for it besides DeBrusque, who he's a good player. He's not a great player. Could have Matt Barzal. I'm sure we're going to hear about Matt Barzal. I wish we had it. Because we need centers. But I think if we had a well-managed cap with young players, and the advantage to having young players is they don't get paid as much.
Mm-hmm.
A rookie on a rookie deal might not even make $1 million. Yep.
Yeah.
If you had young players, you could keep. I think Bergeron would stay. I think if you had $5 million, pay him what Coyle's making, he would be staying. The guy's not going to turn down $5 million for his family. One more year, staying at home. I mean, he's just not going to come back and play for free.
He did last year.
Yeah, he did play for free last year, and he loaded up. And what
still won the Selke.
Like, okay, am I going to go back again with my, herniated disc in my back? It's just daunting to do without getting paid.
Yeah.
So his wife's probably like, all right, you're out there working for free. and he did put a lot into it, and he's probably wants to walk away with his health. But if there was adequate money there, I'm saying $5 million, he'd still be here. So, I think he should be fired. I would fire him. 100% fire him.
Dan, how do you feel about
Jeff Gordon? Jeff Gordon should be brought in. He's the guy who drafted Brad Marchand. He's our captain. And I think he's a great captain. I think he should be captain.
Yeah, I do. I like Marchand as captain. I do. I think he's a better captain
than
Matt.
You can listen to the Felge and Matt. Maybe you clip it in there.
Felge and Matt, I can throw it in. You called in. I remember. I can throw that in here.
I think
if you got it, play it. It'll pick up in the recording.
Yeah, I can play it.
I think
play it. Yeah, get it out. What's your thoughts though, Dan, on him? Yeah.
I think Bergie and Krejci both viewed last year as like, this is our one shot, go out with a bang, win the chip, and then we retire. And they both had ultra team friendly deals, and they probably said, that was our shot, and we didn't get it, and that was the record for points. So they probably viewed that as the best shot they could have possibly had, and it didn't happen. So they said, all right, we tried.
Definitely.
We're not going to do it again.
100%. I would agree with that. I think
they went both barrels. I mean, they sent 2 first-round picks to get Orlov and Bertuzzi, so you can't really do that again.
Yeah.
Because you don't have them.
But I remember at the deadline last year, we were talking to the Bruins need all those reinforcements. I know we were talking before.
So, I think they
could have competed even without that, though. So. Yeah, that's true.
Everybody loads up. If you're in first by a mile, everyone behind you is going to load up. So if you're going to keep pace and stay ahead, you still got to load up. I mean, we felt we came up short, so obviously they needed something.
Bruins still would have been a good team, though, is my point, though. I still think they were competing no matter what. You know what I mean? With that roster, but
I'm more of the opinion that you build yourself a great team, which the Bruins already had, and I would have agreed and said add a little bit. I wouldn't have said maybe trade 2 first-round picks, maybe 1.
Yeah. Just Orlov or something.
Because then you could have the best team in the league going in, and playoffs crash you. You have no idea what's going to happen.
Definitely.
So
Clean slate.
No one expected Panthers to even come close to the Bruins in that series, and they beat them. So it's
yeah, you're right.
At a certain point, they got marginally better, and they gave up a ton of their future.
Definitely. And if you win, you don't care about that. That's the way I play. I don't care if I'm a Clippers fan. I'm all in on going for James Harden. It's a 1-year thing. We're gonna be bad for years after that, but I'm all about trying to win out. If you win out, you don't care about those picks. If you lose, then obviously it hits you a little harder, and then you look back and say, in hindsight, that was a bad move. But at the time, maybe it was a right move for the Bees. Now when you look back, it's a tough thing to give 2 firsts just to lose in the first round, But
I think you got to go all in if it's an all in year, and it leaves you like, all right, well, at least they went for it. They did go for it.
Yeah, I love teams that go for it. I mean, Dan feels the same way.
The ownership, they paid money. They invested to win that year. You hate to think, like, if we just had one more guy or so-and-so. Bergeron did get hurt,
He did. Yeah.
Second to last game or whatever up in Montreal. So that's tough. But that's out of your control. You can control loading up best you can to win. They did that. The problem is, you'd feel a lot different if we re-signed Bertuzzi, Orlov. I mean, Orlov's a stretch. He's out there for the money. Hathaway got paid for a fourth-line guy. But Bertuzzi, $5.5 million. Think about it. That's what Coyle makes, essentially. You should be able to keep him for that. Bertuzzi out there scored 10 points in the series. Coyle had 1 point.
Dan's the biggest Charlie Coyle fan. You're speaking of super
Coyle.
fan.
I do like him.
Dan's not a big fan.
I absolutely hate Charlie Coyle.
The podcast is going into that a little bit. Someone's got to do it.
Yeah. Dan's not a big fan of him. Probably
he does absolutely nothing. He's getting
Coyle
5 1/4.
He makes too much. He's overpaid.
Yeah,
and that's why I think if Bergeron made that money, which is not a lot, on the open market he'd make $8 million.
Definitely,
based on production, even last year's production.
I mean, 2 years in a row he won the Selke. Yeah, still was good.
Selke, face-offs. Even if he was playing just 15 minutes a night, power play, PK, in
100%.
Spots. It'd be at least an $8 million a year guy, and he'd come back and play here for less. So
100%.
It sinks.
It's sad.
Yeah, I mean, if they found someone to take Coyle for a bag of chips, and then they throw Bergeron that $5 million, I would be thinking differently about the Bruins right now. But
yeah, Bergie's a big difference maker.
Yeah, I like him, but not. He definitely got overpaid, and he did well in 2019. He was.
Great ad.
Basically, he was the Bertuzzi pickup that year.
Yeah, it was a great ad.
He produced offensively in the playoffs.
Local kid, too, so people loved him right away.
Yeah, Sweeney loves local everything. Every guy played Hockey East. It's like, can we get someone from Canada who can, dangle and snipe?
Hey, Mark McLaughlin,
Let's get something. We got no offense. I mean, he does well defensively. You got McAvoy. I think, Grizzlick, those guys are both BU, but good players.
Yeah, he does. He does like
Lindholm is good, but he was awful in the playoffs.
Lindholm, was bad 2 straight years in the playoffs.
I think he had a broken foot, yeah.
McAvoy wasn't great in the playoffs this year either, though. He was out of position on a couple goals.
It's tough, though, when you got to shoulder the load as the only defenseman. Lindholm was great during the season. He was, getting Norris consideration up until McAvoy came back.
Yeah. Big
difference. Because he was, a point-a-game guy, playing 20-plus minutes a night. And he was the power play guy, too. And then playoffs, no points, 2 years in a row.
So when
14 games, no points for the guy, so it's tough.
You're right. Dan, how'd you feel about the decision of the Bruins to give Brad Marchand the captain naming, the title instead of Charlie McAvoy? How'd you feel about that?
Well, I mean, Marchand's been there longer, so I think
True.
Just based off that, I think it's you could go either way. It's maybe McAvoy's more of the team player, Marchand's more the guy that every other team hates.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I mean, just based off of tenure with the Bruins, I think it makes sense.
Definitely, I'd say tenure definitely played a role in that. And then if you look at, if Brad Marchand's been here longest, like you said, tenure, but the other side is McAvoy might be here longer since what does Marchand have left? 1 year? 2 years? 2 years, I think.
2, yeah.
2 years, and then obviously McAvoy got that long-term deal. So that was one thing people talk about on the radio here a lot. And then obviously McAvoy's younger. Maybe it'd be easy to make him a captain now. So he's 5 years from now, he already has 5 years of being a captain. But I think Marchand deserved it. He's more probably vocal, I'd imagine, in the locker room. He does play with a chip on his shoulder, so maybe they were talking about on the radio. He has to take the penalties down a little bit, considering all the suspensions and everything. You can't have that anymore. But Mike did call to Felger and Maz, though, and give his thoughts. You have that video up?
I did. Yeah. I have it. Yeah, I can play it, or I'll just reiterate.
Play. I say play it. I say play it. This is the one I took the video off. Play it. Let's hear it. He gave his thoughts, though. I liked it.
So, give the push. Like in Boston, right, Mike?
Yes, it is.
Yep. Was the best choice. One of the things they say say about teams that play to win the Stanley Cup is that you got to have a cup in the room to get a cup in the room. And so I think as a passenger in 2011, he had a rookie record for goals in the Stanley Cup playoffs, 11. And I also think he wants to be captain more than McAvoy. You can just tell in that interview he did. And I think if McAvoy was captain, he might have to do some tiptoeing around Marchand. It's not going to be the case. Marchand's just a better vocal leader in the locker room already. Yeah, all that's true, by the way. But I can't argue with anything you said. I think Marchand does want it more. And if they pass him over, he might be sensitive about that. And that might be a thing. I agree. But I don't know if those are the right reasons. You know, if he's gets out of shape about it, that's his problem. You know, like, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, he did win a cup.
All right, so there it is.
Hey, you have to backtrack, because what he was saying right before you called in, he was saying McAvoy should have been more in consideration. Then you obviously called in, disagreed, and he kind of flipped his opinion. You go to flip.
Yeah, the whole day was a parade of calls with people saying, "Oh, you know." They disagreed. They think McAvoy should have been captain.
Because he's going to be here longer, everyone was saying. I remember on the day of.
Yeah, I think McAvoy profiles as the long-term captain, but I think, you know, based on everything I said there, I think McAvoy or Marchand, he wants it more. You got to give it to him, reward him. He's the vocal leader. He's emotionally the leader.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with
he's
that.
Good. And, yeah, it gives him more buy-in. You know, I think it's going to mean more to him than to McAvoy. And McAvoy will get it someday. I got no doubt, you know, unless this Patrick kid becomes the next Sidney Crosby. Even then, I think McAvoy's got a lot of the intangibles. But even, you know, he's a hothead too. He's had a couple suspensions, even in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He's not exactly Mr. Clean. We need it. Like, you want the team to be hard to play against. Those are the two toughest guys to play against on our team right now.
Yeah. I think they signed Lucic to take over that role that
something to
Marchand of hitting guys in the ice and all that. Luch, who cares? You know, they won't care if he gets suspended for a hit or something.
Yeah, I think Luch on a diet, though. He can't skate.
He's old, yeah. He's 35 right now.
He's made his money. He's had a lot of Capital Grill steaks or something. Oh, yeah.
What do you get, like 1 year, $1 million, though, right? 1.5?
Yeah, 1 year, $1 million, I think. Yeah. I think, you know, he'll probably be motivated. We got a couple of those guys, dime a dozen.
Yeah.
JVR. I don't mind it. You can see it coming. We got a cap crunch.
Yeah.
You just throw some vets in there who they're probably good for the locker room. Maybe they pot a couple of goals, but I'm worried. I'm a little worried about the team's speed.
Speed's a big difference.
Don't have that many guys. I mean, Pasta can fly, but DeBrus can skate. Those guys are wings.
And they lost Hall.
Yeah, Hall was
one of their fastest skaters. Yeah.
Oh, definitely, he flies.
What about face-offs, dude? That's a big difference now without Bergeron. It's not a guaranteed face-off win.
Dude, Zacha's guaranteed.
Pavel Zacha, yeah.
The only thing I will say that gives me a glimmer of optimism, I think we're going to be much worse on face-offs, but
PK probably worse too.
It's interesting to have Zacha and I guess Coyle. If those are your two top offensive guys, you know, righty and a lefty. Zacha's a lefty, so it used to be Bergeron or Krejci. It's always a righty. Maybe you get a little versatility on like those face-off plays, but you got to win the face-off usually. So the plays worked with Bergeron. I don't know if they're going to work with these guys. Occasionally they will, though, and I think it might give you a little something different if you can throw Zacha out there, depending on the stick-handedness of the defensive player.
Definitely. What about Johnny Beecher? I heard he was a big thing during the preseason. He had a goal and assist.
I don't know. Do you have any thoughts? I don't think there's much to be said. It's just another
He made the opening day roster, didn't he? Opening night?
He was drafted in the first round to be an offensive guy from that U.S. national development team, and it's just he doesn't profile really as a top six.
Well, there are better guys around him.
He's probably going to be fourth liner, right?
Fourth line, yeah.
Yeah, which that stinks to hear from a first-round pick. But
yeah. People are talking about him.
Basically, Trent Frederick is another one. He was a first-round pick, too. And I like Fred, but Fred got like 17 goals or something last year, and he was, you know, trying to shake down Sweeney for more money. He got a little more money, but yeah, 2.5 or so.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like you said, it's a big difference, obviously, with Bergie.
Think about these guys are first-round picks. Like, these guys are now profile to score 30 goals in the league.
Big difference. You got to be able to hit first.
Barzal
not as much goal scoring, but
he has the potential to get there. He has the potential to get there. He just hasn't really had the pieces with him on that first line.
Yeah.
But we'll get there.
I think this is the
well, and
he's got more
Islanders don't play a big offensive. They like to win 3-2, 2-1, not 6-5.
Yeah, we'll transition to Isles. Dan, we'll let you open up with the Isles. So 42-31 at 9 last year, 93 points. Lost in the first round to Carolina, so Bees and Isles both out. First round last year,
I didn't think they were going to get in. They squeaked in.
They did squeak in.
Yep.
They got in, and obviously won a couple games with Carolina. They're favored this year to win it. What are your thoughts on the Isles, though, Dan? Last year and then obviously this year, whatever you want to talk.
So just like how they play, their offseason was pretty boring. Didn't really do anything at all besides sign Julien Gauthier, who basically a fourth liner. And they just basically re-signed everyone outside of Parise. So didn't really do much, brought back the same exact team. However, they got Horvat at the deadline.
Yep.
And him and Barzal, not including playoffs, played 10 games together, regular season maybe, somewhere 5 to 10.
Yeah.
And then Barzal got hurt and came back for game 1 of the playoffs. So they never really had any time to gel together on that first line. So now that you have them two on the first line for a whole season, I'm hoping that they can really build that chemistry up, and Barzal maybe could become that 30-goal scorer. And you know that Horvat's going to score. I mean, he went absolutely crazy last year before the Islanders got him, and then he slowed down a bit. But I'm hoping that he can discover that form again for this season. But they really got to figure out who they're going to have on the left wing with them too, because they're throwing Simon Holmstrom on that first line, which is Jesus Christ, what are we doing? He's a 22-year-old, basically still
AHL.
a rookie.
Yeah,
it's
AHL guy, right?
It's he has no experience, and it's you're putting him with two great guys in the NHL, and it's all right, well, I don't know if he's ready for that. We got Wallstrom coming back off his torn ACL.
The 1-year deal,
But they're saying that he's kind of slow coming back, and we're not so sure if he's going to even crack the starting lineup game 1. So maybe he'll be up on that first line eventually, because he probably has a top 3 shot on the team, outside of Brock Nelson and maybe Horvat. But Horvat's known more for kind of picking up loose scraps. So maybe Wallstrom fills that slot, but because they don't like putting Anders Lee up there with Horvat and Barzal, because they kind of think that Anders Lee and Horvat are kind of redundant up there.
Yeah.
So
he's a stud lead.
And too much. Islanders usually like to balance out the lines too, right? They're not a big line team. Yeah.
They got Pedro on the third line, who I think most not so great teams, he would be a second line center.
I like Pedro. I wanted the Bruins to get him years ago. But.
He's super scrappy, smaller guy, but absolutely hustles 100. That's why you'd like him, Joey.
Oh, 100%. I love hustle. Russell Westbrook.
And he does have skill.
He does.
He's had 4-goal games. He's he can occasionally put in the net. I think he plays special teams too, right?
Yep. He's a big killer, and he's on our second power play. So I mean, if he can somehow discover a 25-goal form that he had with Ottawa before we got him,
he was top lining it then, right?
He probably was, yeah. But I mean, even 20 goals, 25th,
20 from the third line is huge.
Yeah, 100%.
I would take it.
Any production there. Which, you're right. I mean, that's a big thing. Depth there.
But yeah, I mean, the scoring depth, we'll see what they can do there, because I mean their defense is pretty elite. Pelech, Pulak, Dobson, just elite defense there. 2
great goaltenders too.
And obviously Sorokin's top 3 goaltender, if not the best in the league.
Yeah,
so
I'd agree.
They flutter back and forth a little bit though, right? Doesn't sometimes Varlamov he gets hot?
So I think last year was really the first time that they're all right, now we have a clear number 1. Yeah. 2 years ago they were kind of let's Sorokin's up and coming, let's alternate them. Coaching staff loves their veterans, so they were really kept pushing Varlamov out there. But now they just re-signed Varlamov to another 4 years for
2.75?
2.75 a year.
Oh, Varlamov, yeah.
Oh, Sorokin got the 8.25, right?
Yeah, Sorokin's getting
8.25
a year for 8 years, which, I mean, that's what it takes to get him. And honestly, I'm happy that it's not for more.
He's young, too.
And Varlamov, another 4 years. I'm a little queasy about that because I was hoping maybe like 2, and those last 2 years are going to hurt. I could already feel it.
Sometimes that's the cost of getting them, though. You got to give the extra 2s, which I know in hockey it's different than other sports. With other sports, Xander Bogaerts' contract, you paid him, 11 years for the Padres to choose years 6 through 11. You know what I mean? Just to have him for 5 years, which I know in hockey it's different, but that could be a mindset to some degree of a GM.
Every once in a while at the deadline, though, or every year it seems like somebody's goalie gets hurt.
Yeah.
You could see them trade him. If Sorokin's really good, you can move on from Varlamov.
Sorokin's that dude,
And then you got maybe like a $5 million player at the deadline that you could acquire. I know he makes less than 3, but
definitely.
However they prorate it, like usually if you clear a little cap, you can add on somebody who makes double, over the year what you have to pay him for the remainder of the year.
Yeah, we can get the team to eat some of their cap and stuff. But I mean, it's like almost $3 million a year it's not a ton to pay for a backup goalie, but it's not nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Rangers signed Jonathan Quick he'll probably get, I don't know, tops 15 games this year. And I think Rangers will be completely fine with that, whatever his output is, and he signed for, I think, less than $1 million. So
very cheap, yeah.
I don't know if going this route with Varlamov, even though he probably still does have some starting caliber left in him, I don't know if that was the smartest thing for them to do. But Lou Lamoriello loves signing his veterans.
He does.
He dishes out those extensions, the 7-year one for
wanted to get
Mayfield.
Cizikas, but then they signed him for like a 5-year.
Here comes the Cizikas. Here we go. We knew the second was coming.
He's a well-paid fourth-line center.
I know you love Cizikas, Mike. Yeah, you've been a fan of him for years.
I do. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, he's I think he has like a $3 million cap hit.
Something like that.
Which, I mean, he's so valuable to the team, so I find that as
2.5 for 4 more years.
He's good though. Yeah, you weren't lying, Mike, when you said
age
a couple years
32.
ago.
I mean, he's basically going to retire there.
Yeah.
He is good though.
His whole thing is speed, and that's going to go away in probably 2-3 years. So it's good while we have him, but I think one of the biggest discussions in Islanders Nation is it time for the identity line, the fourth line, to go away with Matt Martin and Clutterbuck, because both of them are 35.
Old.
I think Clutterbuck might be 30. No, they're both around 35. Where it's
looks like it, 35,
the two of them are on their last year. And
Clutterbuck's 35. You nailed it.
I already thought that they should be gone, because each one of them is making $1.5, $2 million, something like that. And now that they're older, Matt Martin kind of looks like Frankenstein on the ice. So I don't know.
Isn't he there to
I don't know
hit
if
guys?
he's worth it anymore.
He hits
they
guys,
bring
right?
the physicality up.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all they do, right? They hit.
Yeah.
They hit, they fight.
Yeah. Clutterbuck hits everyone. He's not as much of a fighter, but he brings the heat on everyone. I think it was Clutterbuck who, when Carlo got a concussion in the...
Yeah, that's right.
I think it was Clutterbuck that hit him into the boards.
He's led the league in hits like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I think so. I think part of it is because they started tracking hits in like 2008 or something, but I think it's him and Matt Martin who have like total career hits in history.
Yeah. Big hitters. It makes a difference.
I like having them on that fourth line because it sets the tone. A lot of times they just throw that line out there to start the game. And usually they hold their own, but I mean, like Matt Martin, he's great at fighting, great at hitting, but he's getting pretty slow
a little bit, yeah.
And it's starting to get to be a little bit of a liability. Where now, Islanders have some young guys like Wahlstrom will probably get scratched the first couple games, where it's like, all right, well, we kind of want that offense out there. What are we going to do about that? So there's a lot of questions about where the Islanders are going to go to find that scoring punch, because they just love re-signing all their veterans, and they aren't really getting it done with the goals. And Patrice was the one that was, and he's gone. So.
Still a free agent, right, though? So you could maybe bring him back, but...
Yeah, he's gone for now. There's a lot of talk about whether he will come back, but, I mean, there's nowhere to put him.
Not exactly a young guy either.
Yeah, he's 38, I think, but he scored 20 goals last year. It was like, where did this come from?
Still a good ad, yeah.
Yeah, because the Wild basically said, we don't want you, and we'll pay you like $6 million to not play for us.
I guess, yeah. It worked out for you guys. He was a good ad, good leader, too.
Yeah, he was great for us the last 2 years, but nowhere to put him right now. And, I mean, it would be a very team-friendly deal, but I don't know. We'll see if that comes, but he's not going to be the one to save the team. They're probably going to, knowing Lamoriello, they're probably going to make another trade at the deadline, trade another first-round pick, because, I mean, just like the Bruins, the Islanders did that the last 2 years, traded first-round pick to get Romanov on our defense, and
Horvat, right?
Horvat, yeah.
Horvat.
So
the difference with the Islanders is when Lou makes a trade, he makes it early, and he signs the guy.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like, I wanted the Bruins to get Horvat when I knew he was available. I mean, we can't afford the 8.5, but if it was Bergeron's last roundup, at least you sign a guy who can help you now, and he'd be your center. Like, next year he can slide in and play center. But
yeah, definitely.
Islanders got him, so for you guys.
Well, yeah, he's a great ad. I mean, that's what the Isles needed. They needed scoring. They were 22nd in the league last year in goals per game, and then also the power play was 15 or 16% on the power play, which is 30th in the NHL. So now you add a guy like that to your power play. It's a big difference, which, like you said, he wasn't really there much with Barzal healthy, but with those two guys healthy, you got to think goals will go up. Even though they were 22nd last year, if they go to 15th, that's a big difference. Jumping from 22nd to 15th, you jump into the first half, the top half of the NHL. And the goalies are great, so you can win a game with 2 or 3 goals usually, most given nights. So.
Yeah, they just desperately need something of a power play this year. Like, that was the reason why it was so close to get into the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Who's their defensive quarterback on the power play? Is it Dobson?
Dobson, yeah.
Dobson's
good.
He's young, right?
He could. I mean, I don't know if this year he will be, but within the next 2 years, he'll probably be the best defenseman on the team. And I mean, not defensively really. Pelech and Pulock are both defense first, but Pulock has a great slap shot, but other than that, he doesn't do a whole lot offensively. So Dobson being that quarterback has been good, and they have the Islanders version of Sebastian Aho.
What a base!
On left, he's actually not bad, though. He's pretty good.
Yeah. He usually runs the second power play unit, and he does his job there. I kind of view him as like the Islanders' Connor Clifton, but so does his job and is making probably like $1 million. So can't really complain.
Definitely, cheap. Which you guys gave 7-year extensions to Mayfield and Engvall, both got 7-year extensions.
Yeah, Scotty Bonnie's Mayfield.
$3.5 million a year for Mayfield.
Mayfield, 7 years, 3.5 annual. Which I mean, he's
a ton.
It's a lot of money, but I mean, he would probably be a second line defenseman on most teams, and he's probably like the best third line defenseman right now.
He's good, yeah. He's not a bad player. We saw him play in person.
But it's just a lot of money to pay for a third line defenseman.
7 years,
no matter how good he is. So it's painful, but I mean, Islanders didn't really have anyone else that they could slot in the right.
If somebody gets hurt, he could move up. You know what I mean, too. You never know. So it's not bad to have that depth if he's a third, third D pairing.
Yeah, 2 years ago, Pulock was out for about 40 games, so that happens again.
That's one thing the Isles need is health. That's been a big difference in Baker over the last couple of years. Barzal getting hurt. Wallstrom even had an injury right last year. We heard his leg or something.
Wallstrom ACL, so he was out since December.
They had a lot of injuries.
I mean, if he can somehow show his potential,
Yeah.
then maybe Islanders will be top 3 team in the Met. But
I think they'll be right there. I have them as a playoff team. We'll get into the playoff talk in a second, but I think the Isles could be there. If the goal scoring gets up, and obviously you have the defense, that's big. And it's, like you said, it's basically the same team as last year, which I'd say we're in similar positions the Clippers and the Islanders. We're running back basically the same team for the most part.
Yeah.
A couple additions. The Clippers getting 2 pieces extra. Bones Hyland really didn't play much last year, but he's coming back. Could trade some of their pieces. Bones is my boy, dude. He's gonna have a bigger role.
That's a name I didn't think I was gonna hear on this podcast.
Bones Hyland. Yeah. Well, Mike knows I'm a big fan of his rap music. Busy on Spotify. But what I was gonna say was you have guys that are taking bigger roles. Which last year Horvat was already on the team, but you expect him to take a step up this year. Bones Hyland, the Clippers, similar thing. He's gonna take a step up this year. The Clippers added Kenyon Mountain Jr. He was an add. You guys really didn't add much except Gauthier, like you said. So it's basically the same team from last year for both of us. It's kind of make or break year for us. You guys, Wednesday, it's make or break. This is the Clippers' year. If we don't win, I mean, it's basically it. But point being is I think we're both in similar positions.
Isles also got the GOAT, Carson Kuhlman.
Yes, I saw he got it. He got some money, didn't
he? He's in Bridgeport right now, so he'll chill in the AHL for a bit until someone gets hurt. But
what do you get, a couple year deal? I saw
goals on the third line.
I think it's a year or two-way. So.
Yeah, something like that. I saw that today. Yeah, and then one other thing they signed. Samuel Bolduc, I don't know who he was, defenseman, but
Bolduc, he was. I don't know much about him. Played here and there, switched off with Aho. Both of them kind of took that quarterback role at the second power play, which I mean, neither one of them did tremendously, but it's a third line defenseman. It's not super important, so and we'll see what he does. He's younger, maybe he'll step up this year, but as of right now, they're looking at Aho for that line. And the other guy that they re-signed, Pierre Engvall, who they got at the deadline from Toronto. They gave him 7 years, which is a ton of years. Like it's, he's only him up forever. And he at least is, I think he's like 27, 28, something like that. So it's not like we're going to be paying him when he's 38, but it's a lot of money for a guy who doesn't do, or a lot of years for a guy who doesn't do a whole lot. I mean, he's going to probably be the second line left winger, which I mean, he's only there because he plays well with Brock Nelson. Anders Lee's actually on the third line right now.
I was like, he's the captain though. I put him higher, but
yeah, he should be. He was always the first liner, but with Horvat, they're thinking maybe push him down to the third, have him and Pedro make a good third line.
He's good, yeah.
Does Lee still play top power play, you think, or have they not?
Yeah.
So they throw he'll still scoop his goals in. He's like a net front guy, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he'll get his chances up.
Yeah,
there.
he'll probably be around 25, 30 goals this year, and probably 18 of those will probably come from within 2 feet of the goal.
100%. How'd you feel about
JVR, actually better.
Van Riemsdyk? Yeah, Van Riemsdyk was good last year, though. Saw our stats. They were good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Lee's much better.
Yeah, no, I'd say Lee's better, but Van Riemsdyk's solid, but I'd say Lee's the better player.
I actually really like that signing for the Bruins. I mean, got him for like $1 million. So
yeah, it's $1 million, I think.
Yeah.
So I mean, really got him on a great value, but he's certainly not what he was 6 years ago. So
yeah, I would agree.
We'll see what he could do. I've been reading some stuff that they want him on the top line with Pasta.
It could. Well, yeah. Who knows? I think they preferred spreading the wealth last year, not having a big line.
Get DeBrusque up there.
Marchand with Krejci, so now it's just going to be Pasta, Zacha to start, and probably Marchand DeBrusque, which means they need a center, and it's probably going to be. I mean, I hope it's Patra, the young kid. Then you can keep Foyle on the third line. Foyle will probably still take a lot of the face-offs, though. So.
Yeah, he's solid at that, face-offs. Dan, how'd you feel about Josh Bailey getting traded? Saw they dumped his contract, right?
So, he was making $5 million this year. So, yeah, they needed to get rid of him because otherwise they wouldn't they wouldn't have been able to even re-sign the guys they did. So,
Yeah.
because right now they just what did they do? They cut Ross Johnston, who was picked up by the Ducks for some reason. He's basically like a Walmart Matt Martin.
Mhm.
That's the best way to describe him.
Play physical.
He was making 1.1 for the next like 3 years, which was, I mean, 1.1 is not that much money, but it was way too much for him.
Yeah. He's not living
Like
up
he
to
was
it.
getting, I think he got scratched like 70 of 82 games last year. So yeah, it was good to get rid of him, but it was very surprising to see a team like the Ducks pick him up, which is like random. But
100%. Yeah. Guess I need some depth.
sorry, what was your question again? I kind of went down a rabbit
No,
hole.
you answered it well. It was about Bailey getting traded, and you said he
Bailey,
already fell off,
So,
which he wasn't great
definitely-
defensively. So
Definitely, they needed to get rid of him because he was making $5 million, and what did he do last year? He had
scoring went down.
he had 25 points, which actually, I mean, not terrible as like a fourth liner, but for $5 million, yeah, needed to get rid of him. And I'm honestly surprised that the team like Ottawa didn't want him for whatever league minimum is now to play on their third or fourth line,
Mhm.
but they cut him from their PTO, so
Yeah, makes
I
sense.
guess, and really sucks for him. I mean, he was a great player for the Isles for ever since he was drafted. So, I mean, tough to see a homegrown guy leave like that out of the blue, but it's best for the team for sure. So,
Yeah, you got to save money. You know, and like
wish
you
him the
said,
best.
$5 million for him's a lot of money. I know you liked
Yep.
you liked that he always played hard and stuff, but obviously the defense wasn't
and
great.
he definitely lost a couple steps in the last 3 years or so, and sure enough, was like right after he signed the Giant contract. So, I mean, it happens, and Isles finally got him off the books. People have kind of been wanting that for the last 2 years, so did what they needed to, and sure enough, we just threw all that money at a bunch of veterans. So,
Hey, try it, right? Why not? See what works. Spread around the wealth.
so the cycle repeats.
Yeah, I know. I
Probably
like it.
gonna trade Varlamov in about 2 years for a bag of chips. So we'll see.
Hey, like Mike said, you never know if somebody needs a goalie at the deadline. You can get good value.
Yeah, true.
But you don't want to be in that position because if you're trading him at the deadline, it probably means you're probably not in it enough to want to keep him for the rest of the year. You know, like if you're out of it, then you trade him. But if you're in a position where it's, you're still in the mix in the playoffs right at the deadline, I keep him just to have, that second option. Except, in case something happens to Sorokin or, like you said, he's a good player too. But I wouldn't want to trade him because that means you're probably not in the best position for, this year. But somebody's going to make that decision.
Yeah, it might be something of like at the deadline if they want to get a left winger, like
You could do that. Yes, that's true too.
yeah, if they want to get like a Kyle Connor or someone, when the Jets for sure will be out of it. Like, don't get me wrong, they just signed Hellebuck and blanking on the center's name, Scheifele. Yeah, they signed both of them for
Scheifele got some money.
like $8 a year or something like that, which they're trying to act like they're in it. They're not in it. Come on. They barely made the playoffs last year. Come on, no. And they lost Blake Wheeler. Like, absolutely not. They're not in it.
Blake
So
Wheeler, legend.
they're probably gonna have a fire sale at the deadline. So hopefully we can do some sort of swap. I mean, they're not going to take Varlamov, but that's just an example. Maybe we can do a swap of a left winger. You take on Varlamov's contract, but we'll see.
No, I like it though.
That's who knows if the Isles will even be in it by the deadline. So
Hey, I'm
for the
hoping.
best.
I'm hoping for your sake. You know that. Which we can dive now into
For sure.
predictions. What do you guys want to start with? Some awards, or would you rather jump in, talk some playoff teams? Who do you think's gonna make the playoffs in each? Which, if you don't have them ready to go, we can cut it up whatever way we want, split things up. But what do you think? What do you guys want to dive into? Awards or playoff predictions? For what teams will make it.
I think playoffs maybe.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's keep
Let's
it
do playoffs.
going league based.
All right, let's do playoffs then.
I mean, I still think Bruins are going to make the playoffs. So
I still like them
I'm
in
not
the
sure if
playoffs.
I like them to make the playoffs. Vasilevsky's out for a while for the Lightning.
Mhm.
Yep.
Won today without him.
Toronto's good, but they don't have, they still are pretty weak goaltending and defense wise. So we'll be able to compete with those teams. Buffalo's a little on the rise. Ottawa has retooled. Florida Panthers are obviously pretty good.
The Devils.
Detroit's probably still a little ways away. Like, they're not complete, but they've got a couple good players. The rest of the division, Montreal, terrible.
Yep.
The Metro got some good teams, though. Carolina,
Yeah.
Devils, Pittsburgh, Sabres, Isles.
Yeah, Carolina. They're so good. They got Orlov. They're definitely going to be in it. Devils last year were great. From a regular season perspective, I can't imagine they'll, be out of the playoffs. They'll probably still be in.
Devils, definitely. People like them a lot.
I think Pittsburgh will get back in there.
Yeah, Pittsburgh added Karlsson.
Yeah, that's my boy.
It's a big ad.
A lot of money.
It's tough to imagine a team with Crosby not making the playoffs. I know last year that happened, but they were the last team not to make it.
I think they make it this year.
They lost Zucker. They brought Karlsson in, and they pretty much brought back the same exact team, which normally I'd say is fine.
Guys were pretty good.
Yeah, they got Gensel. They got Brian Rust, who, it's all right.
Yeah,
that's his job.
Third line-ish guy.
Yeah, he plays like on their first line.
He does. But anyone who plays with Crosby can score goals. So that's just,
basically.
It's a revolving door at wing.
He's filthy.
I think I don't know if I'm ready to call them a playoff team again.
Pittsburgh?
Just because they didn't make it last year and they brought in Karlsson, but I can't see him having the same output that he did with San Jose.
San Jose, he could just shoot wherever he wants because that
San Jose, he was getting the puck every single time.
He just light it up. I'm a big fan of him.
He was the only guy on that team, so I just can't see him having that same point total when Crosby's running the show. So he'll do well. He'll do well, and he's a huge, huge addition for them. Don't get me wrong, but I think they're the odd team out in the Met.
Do you think the Capitals are better than them? I don't think so.
So I have the same four from the Met making it again: Devils, Hurricanes, Rangers, Islanders.
Rangers.
Okay. I got.
Yep. Go ahead. Yeah.
I got Carolina, New Jersey, Pittsburgh, and the Islanders. That's mine. So.
Okay. I mean, Carolina, New Jersey, probably locks to make it.
Yep, for sure. Yep.
I mean, Rangers. Yeah.
I didn't have the Rangers.
Rangers are good.
I think they're good, but great, though. I mean,
they lost Tarasenko and they lost Patrick Kane.
Yeah.
They brought in Blake Wheeler.
Although Kane's where is Kane? Is he signed?
Kane's still a free agent.
Yeah.
He's not even signed. Yeah. I think he may still end up somewhere like New York. He wants to play for one of these big cities.
That was his goal, right, last year. So it might be the same this year.
Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised he hasn't signed with Chicago yet. I thought he would.
You thought
for sure go back.
Go back. Be with Bedard? Yeah, I think
for him, it's probably a money thing, right?
Yep.
I mean, he was at one point the highest paid guy in the league, pretty much. Him and Taves were both making $10 million before anyone else was making near that. Sort of like the treatment that what's his name, McDavid and Draisaitl get right now, except Kane won 3 cups. So.
Hey, this year could be different for the Oilers. I'm hoping at least.
I don't think so.
They will never win a chip with them too. They're just cursed at this point.
Yeah, they're not doing it.
We'll see when we get to predictions here, huh? See how I feel. I'm rooting
they're very
for them, I'll say
similar
that.
to Toronto, and Toronto has a tougher road every year because I just think the East is more loaded at this point. But you pay all these forwards, and you just
pay 4 guys
on defense. Yeah, you're lacking on defense and goalie especially.
And honestly, depth as well, obviously, if you're just paying 4 guys. Not really much.
All right, Dan, I'm going to upset you. I think Pittsburgh gets in over the Islanders.
That's actually not a hot take. That's pretty standard with what most people think. So
I'm thinking in a head-to-head. I know last year probably went a little differently, but Horvat, Barzal are good. I just think Crosby's he's still a better player
for sure
at this stage.
I mean,
in the breakout pass,
no doubt Hall of Famer.
Yeah. It's also just from the defense. Like the top 2 guys on the Isles are very defensive. You know better than me watching how they break the puck out and whatnot, but they probably don't break it out with their legs too often. Karlsson now, Letang, like they can both pass, both skate.
Letang's good.
Maybe Letang's lost a step for sure, but
Still a good player, yeah.
It makes a big difference when you can break out the puck with skilled defensemen. I mean, that's why McAvoy's out there so much for the Bruins. He can skate, pass, hit, do everything.
Yeah, my only concern with two concerns with Pittsburgh is defensively because
too finesse.
Defensively, they're not super great. I mean, Letang does his thing, but
they're more or less not great.
Yeah, it's outside of the top two, and they're not even defensive defensemen.
Right.
And they don't have much, and Jari is pretty bad in my opinion. So
hot and cold at very best.
So they'll give up goals for sure, but I mean, hopefully they can score enough to make up for it.
And it's a big power play league. I mean, you can ride your power play to a lot of wins in the regular season.
Yep.
And it's a luxury when you have it, and it hurts if you don't have it. A lot of times for the Bruins last year, it was the power play. It wasn't the greatest, but they would go up. They get a lead and then they go up another goal because they get a power play.
Yeah.
Yep.
Islanders just don't. They're not like the capitalize on the power play type team.
I think the luck flips this year. It was 16% last year. I think it goes up this year. I have the odds making the playoffs. I think they're going to score some goals.
16%. That's pretty.
It was bad last year, so you can't get any worse.
You're hoping for positive regression.
They made the playoffs last year at 16% or 17%, whatever it was.
1 for 4.
Yeah.
In a game, you're hoping if you get 4 cracks at it, you get a goal.
It's impressive they made the playoffs last year with that low of a power play percentage. It is. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
So I think it goes up this year.
Like
it can't get any
Horvat
worse.
Signing, so I mean, I'm jealous of the Horvat.
He struggled when he went over, but I mean, I think he'll adjust. Some guys don't adjust right away.
Yeah, it was funny. I can't remember the exact stat, but
they paid paid full price for him. So
it was something like 5 to 10 games that they played together in the regular season. When both Barzal and Horvat were on the ice, or both healthy in the game, the power play percentage was at like 27% or something. And then
that's a great percentage.
And then without Barzal, it dropped to like 10.
Yeah.
It was like crazy.
He's a great guy in the middle. Sets everyone up.
So I think with both
he's a
of them,
playmaker. I mean,
he has
and then
too.
Yeah, like before they got Horvat, it was like I think around like 16, 18%.
That's where they finished.
So.
30th. So it'll be better this year. I do trust in that team, and then obviously the goalies too are great. They're going to keep you in games. So a great goalie can keep you in a lot of games. Look at Northeastern in the last couple years with Devin Levi. Kept them in a lot of games when they couldn't score. So it's a big difference maker.
That's one thing I wanted to mention. Sabres could be sneaky.
They're one of my ones. They're in for me.
Isles and
Sabres, my top. What are they called? Wild cards?
They just gave Dahlin $11 million a year, which is crazy. Absolutely nuts. He's a good player. I don't think he's worth 11. Absolutely not.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
I think he's more. I mean, at least at this stage of his career, he's more at like 8.
You know what I think it is? I think it's where they picked him. Right, he was top pick.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Number 1 overall picks. They've got 9 lives, and they tend to get paid because it was one of his first good solid years last year, and
I think
they probably think, oh look, we hit on the pick that we thought we were going to hit on. But they got Tage Thompson's the guy. He's a stud.
47 goals last year. Jeff Skinner.
We got no one to stack up with him.
Dylan Cousins.
Cousins.
They got
Owen
Skinner. Power. Yeah.
Owen Power's good. Alex Tuck.
A little up there though, right? Skinner's like overpaid.
Skinner's old, but he's
Skinner's
35 goals last
overpaid.
Year.
What's he make, $9 million?
35 goals last year though.
Yeah.
What
was it? 2 years ago?
He got 40 goals. Before he went up there.
There was, what was it? It was like 2 years ago. I think he had like 20 points on the year.
Yep.
Which is like, it was like, what is going on? And then the next year he came out with like 30 goals. So
broke out.
I think Skinner had in the hockey world was like money per point for Skinner was like the highest in the league.
Yep. So I mean, last year he was good. I don't know what Jeff Skinner they're getting this year.
Yeah. I think he's still a good player. And then Alex Tuck they got too, so they got a lot of scoring depth there. They were missing a goalie last year.
The 2 kids that they got from Vegas, Tuck and Krebs, are actually...
Oh, yeah.
They are both very good, yeah.
Yeah.
Krebs actually gave the Bruins some problems. He was a young center. They'll probably do it again. I don't know. They're a tough little matchup.
They got Devin Levi. Levi's a stud, dude.
Yeah,
He's unreal.
I know, man.
That's a big difference. Man. You actually needed a goalie last year.
Yeah,
That's why they missed.
You thought he was never going to let a goal in. You thought he was, what's his name, from
He was the best goalie.
Montreal.
He was the best goalie in college hockey the last 2 years.
You thought he was Ken Dryden, and then
Dude,
Game 3 rolled around.
Did you see him play? He was the best goalie in college hockey 2 years in a row. It was nuts.
I saw, yeah. He is.
He was unreal.
I like the player. He is just, NHL, the smaller type guys. It takes a lot. It takes a little adjustment. And who's their other goalie up in Buffalo?
No
Let
idea.
me see. I don't know. He's starting.
So
that's
here's
all
the
that
weak
matters.
point, right? I mean, they got to see what Levi is, and it's so many more games than college hockey. Like,
Yeah.
even guys who are used to the NHL don't play 60-plus games anymore. I mean, some of them do.
Comrie?
Hellebuck or
Erik Karlsson?
Comrie. Oh, he's terrible.
I don't even know who he is, so, yeah.
So,
Not
I mean,
much
you
above
got to
him,
at least feel good about the Bruins' chances than that.
Hey, they got Connor Clifton.
Swayman.
They got Clifton.
Cliffy hockey, yeah.
They do. They got Matthew Savoy. He's hurt, but he's a stud. Top pick.
Yeah,
Couple years ago.
ninth overall pick, was that?
Yep, high pick a couple years ago. Yeah, he's good. He's a stud. He's young. He's probably like 19, 20.
So
I also think Buffalo, until they, force it, break the ice, make the playoffs, it does take a lot to get there, get over the hump. It's a long season, so teams that aren't used to it, like the Bruins, they're just, as an organization, used to making the playoffs. Same with the Islanders, I guess. I just don't see Pastrnak, McAvoy, Marchand not making it, and Buffalo making it.
I have them both making
Yeah.
it. I'll run over mine right now real
both.
quick.
Who do you have out then in the Atlantic? I'm curious.
Rangers
Yeah,
I have out and Panthers I have out. So one in the Metro, one in the Atlantic.
Yeah, Panthers and Atlantic.
So I got Panthers
Rangers
out in the Atlantic. I got the Rangers out in the Metro. So I'll run through mine really quick. I got Maple Leafs, Lightning, Bruins, Carolina, Devils, Pittsburgh, and then Sabres and Islanders for my 2 wild cards in the East.
Sabres, Isles.
Yeah, the extra 2 there. So there you go. So I have the Rangers missing and the Panthers missing, which the Panthers missing was tough, but I needed to have the Isles and I needed to have the Sabres in there. So I went both.
The only thing
missing.
with the Panthers, maybe again, if Bobrovsky just reverts back,
Turns
to
back
his
time.
regular
Yeah.
season mode. But
He was a stud, yeah.
He was good.
He turned back time somehow, but that's my 8 there, which you go
He's
over
just so
your 8
hot and
again if you
cold,
want.
yeah. And then sometimes he gets off ice issues, but
Yeah, no, he does always have that. And we'll see what
tough
happens
team,
tonight
tough
too.
out.
Yeah.
So mine.
Yeah, you were on the list.
My projection, I had Maple Leafs. I think they're a lock.
Mhm.
I think they added Bertuzzi, and they're just pretty stacked this
Yeah.
year.
I like that.
I think it's the
Panthers-
best offensive team in the league. I don't
Definitely.
think it's
Studs.
that close. They just loaded up there.
Yeah. I have Panthers in it, and kind of like how you said with the Bruins, not being able to imagine Marchand and Pasta not making it. I had that with the Lightning.
Yeah.
They still have a lot of big guns.
Point.
Kucherov.
They've been losing some of their guns over the last 2 years, but they still have a ton.
Definitely.
So I think they're going to squeak in.
They won tonight, apparently.
5-3, yep.
Oh, God.
Already up 5.
They don't have
guys
Vasilevsky for a while, though, so.
Yeah,
We'll
that's one of the wild cards with them.
Scoring makes a difference. They can score the 4 goals a night. You just got to stay afloat.
Yeah, they have lost a little depth offensively, though. They weren't
they
like
lost.
the same.
Stamkos getting
I
older,
think
right?
Toronto's going to be able to outscore them.
Probably. Probably
They did,
faster
right?
too,
In the
right?
playoffs, didn't they beat them? They beat them last year.
Yeah.
They lost Killorn. They lost. I don't even know if Corey Perry played for them last year or 2 years ago.
I think he did play for them last year.
Stamkos getting older too.
You know what? They also they traded away a lot to get Tanner Jeannot,
Yeah.
and they got Brendan Hagel. I think he scored a goal tonight.
Yeah, he's good. They do
And,
still have depth, but yeah, it's not like
They
a
got
lot.
some,
Nick
yeah,
Paul.
some decent guys. Yeah, Nick Paul.
But I mean, a lot of these guys are not.
Sorelli is good.
Yeah,
Sorelli's
Sorelli is
solid.
good. I think he's a little overpaid right now, but
Probably. Yeah. Point
it's
is
like they
good.
have one of the best top lines in the NHL
Mhm.
with Stamkos, Point, and Kucherov. But we'll see.
Although Stamkos, they don't want to resign him.
Yeah, I saw he was upset about that.
Okay. They said they're not giving him an extension. So
He was upset about that.
He gets traded to the Bruins at the deadline.
Will they ever do that, though?
We have a big different conversation here.
Guess you never know.
We're going to have the most unique power play. It's going to be double barrel on the right face-off dot, high and low, pasta and Stamkos, bombs away.
I love it. Why not? So, Dan, you got them making it in. Do you have the Bees making the playoffs? Are they one of the extra two for you? It's fine if not. Keep it a buck.
So I'll give you this. So I did not.
Okay.
But I think it's going to be.
Right? So.
I think it's going to be 3 from the Atlantic. So I had Maple Leafs, Panthers, Lightning. I think the Bruins could fight for that third, but right now I have it as the Lightning.
Okay.
And then I have the 5 from the Met, taking both wild card.
Okay, I like it. I mean, you gave a solid group there.
The Caps are down in the water, so they're done. But
Caps are bad, yeah.
They're too old, and they're just done.
Yeah, I would agree with you. So
they've had a ton of injuries too. Like they just goal is a question mark.
Yeah, they have Ovi and Backstrom and 36-year-old TJ Oshie. So
yeah, Oshie's up there
who's
too.
been banged up, right? Like he gets hurt every year. It seems like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
and then John Carlson still,
Yep, they still have him. So
it's just going to be another year of Ovi scored another hat trick. He's this much closer.
Yeah.
So they're just
their
traveling circus now.
All their good players are 33 plus.
Yeah, this team has a lot of mileage.
So yeah, I think
I like your rate though, Dan. I like your rate. What's your rate, Mike? What was yours again? You said number.
So I'd say definitely Maple Leafs, Bruins. I think Panthers make it. I see Lightning making it too. So that's 4 Atlantic. And then Hurricanes, Devils. Those two seem like a lot. Devils maybe not, but it would take some injuries for them not to make it. I think Jack Hughes and those guys.
They're young, yeah.
The Devils are stacked.
A lot of young talent.
Devils are stacked.
Yeah, I don't love their defense.
Yeah,
who's their top goalie over there?
Hamilton.
Becky Hamilton.
They have Vanacek, I think.
Vanacek, yeah. So he got picked in the expansion draft and then traded, right? Washington tried to get him back.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle, and then Devils picked him.
I think they wanted to trade for Hellebuck, and then he just signed. So it's not going to be him. I don't know who they're going to go after.
Yeah, I mean, Devils could have a bad. I think Devils could slip down to wild card again, which is really cool.
It could.
So Pittsburgh, Hurricanes, Devils.
That's a bit of a hot take, though, I have to say.
Yeah, that's
their
hot take, I guess. There.
Bleacher Report had them number 2 in the power rankings right now.
Devils?
Yep.
Yeah, people are high on them a lot.
Yeah, I mean, they got a lot of high-end talent, but they're not going to surprise people anymore. Last year I think it was they come in, they skate, they're fast, they're skating around you.
The GOAT, Dougie Hamilton.
Yeah, Mike's boy.
He stinks.
Mike's boy.
Another Dougie Hamilton guy. I think he's just too soft.
Got his payday.
Alligator arms in the corner.
So I'm the only one of us three with Bruins and Isles both making it.
Rangers, yep. I guess. I forgot the Rangers. Rangers Isles could be a little dogfight to get in.
I got the Isles over the Rangers.
Yeah.
The Rangers have a little more talent.
I think they do, yeah.
They do, probably. I don't know. Goaltending's close.
Yeah.
Yeah, goaltending. I mean, it's Shesty, Sorokin. Yeah. Top. I think they're both top 3.
Their defense.
Yeah, they're right there.
Their defense is just different because a guy like Adam Fox plays both ways. I think he's a little overrated.
Yep.
Truth be told, I think McAvoy's better because he has a physical element.
Yep.
Fox doesn't really bring it, but it's not his fault that he's not a huge guy.
Yeah, I mean they have Trouba kind of take care of that.
Trouba is a big boy, but he's.
I also agree. I also think
I'd rather have
he's overrated. Yeah, I agree.
Because I think Trouba's a bit reckless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
He goes for those big takeoffs. I gets get to see the highlight. He crushes a guy coming over the blue line.
Yeah, he kills people. Yeah.
He takes risks for the big hit, like Gudas. I mean, he's better than Gudas, but similar style.
Definitely.
Rangers have missed a little bit on some picks, though, like Lafreniere. Not
Yeah,
really, he'll go on streaks, but he's like a third liner.
Yeah, for them, they need Lafreniere. They need Kakko, Lafreniere, and Keedle to really play well, to actually be top 6 forwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think in a matchup, I think Rangers might have a little more than the Isles can bring offensively.
I agree. Yep. I just hope that the Isles can capitalize enough on the Rangers 4D. So we'll see.
It's a good head-to-head.
Yeah,
definitely.
Subway Series.
100%.
But I think definitely losing a little bit of the Rangers' firepower that they got at the deadline could bring them down under. And right now I have them making it. So I'll agree with you there.
All right, now we'll jump out west. Talk west really quick. We can jump back into the East too if you want, Mike. But I'll give you my.
Talk about the East.
I'll give you my west though really quick. And you give your west. Do you guys have west predictions? And no, if you don't, you're gonna talk west.
I know basically.
I'm doing these live.
I know basically nothing about the West, but
I was reading about some of the teams. I mean, a lot of people love Edmonton, obviously because of the 2 big pieces there, which I root for them for their sake too.
I love Vegas. Vegas and the Kraken. Those are my 2 teams out there that I like.
Yeah, I like Edmonton.
Minnesota seems to get in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Colorado.
Minnesota will make it.
Dallas is good. Dallas was good last year. Ottinger, goalie is good.
Yeah, Dallas is one of the Cup favorites.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Edmonton, I like. I'll give you my fault, Dan. You go.
Yeah, go for it.
You straight. You go.
I was just going to say Avs are going to make it. I don't know if we mentioned them.
Yeah, they'll make it, sure.
I think that's a lock, right? I mean,
yeah.
So talented. Yeah, I would agree with that. I'll give you my 3.
They're a little weak in that, right?
Landeskog is out for the year.
Yeah.
It's a big loss.
So
McKinnon.
But I mean, they'll figure it out. I mean, they still got a bunch of talent on that team.
Is what's his name? Did he get traded from the BC kid center?
Miles Wood?
No, not Wood.
Is
he out there?
Yeah.
No, the actual
Newhook.
Yeah, Newhook did get traded to the Canadiens.
Did he really? Oh, okay.
Canadiens, right, Dan? Yeah.
Sounds right.
I think he did.
And Boldy's over on Minnesota Wild.
He's good.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Yeah,
Newhook was traded to the Canadiens. Yeah.
He never really. I don't think he really ever showed it like full potential for BC, and then he's just lighting it up for the show.
I felt like Newhook did more scoring at BC.
He did.
Yeah.
Boldy kind of the games I had watched. But.
Yeah, Boldy kind of flew under the radar. Like everyone was kind of like, really, this guy was the
first
our best forward,
wasn't
he? Yeah, the 3 of them,
right?
The 3 of them, Knight too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a stacked.
The 3 of them were picked within like 5 picks, I think, of each other.
I think they were all like top 15.
Yeah, that was quite a class. I'll give you my Pacific really quick. I got Edmonton, Vegas, Seattle, Central. I got Dallas, Minnesota, Colorado, and then my extra 2, Minnesota and the Kings. Which I don't really care about the Kings much, but I read about them, and I wasn't going to go with Calgary. They missed last year.
The Kings give Edmonton a tough time.
Yeah, they were decent last year, right? So
yep.
I went with
see
them.
What Byfield can do this year. If he can step up a little bit, we'll see.
He hasn't brought much scoring to the league.
He hasn't.
He's got that. He's a big boy.
Yeah, he's a big dude, and they might put him on the top line with Kopitar. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, they're an older team. Kopitar's
there's another cut. Not Kopitar, but the winger that scores other goals. No, it's an
Kempe?
Adrian Kempe.
Yeah. He's good. He's good. I agree. I think Kings make it for Pacific. This isn't in any order, but
yeah, you just throw them out.
Kings, Oilers, Knights, and at that point,
Kraken, I think.
I don't know if the Kraken are the Kraken squeaked in. I don't know if they do that again.
The Kraken went on a good little run though. They took out.
They did.
They did.
Colorado.
They took down Colorado.
They got hot.
I'll for sure root for them, but I don't know if they're going to make it again. Flames might squeak in, but
Flames
I mean,
had
the West is pretty bad. I mean, there aren't that many top dogs. So, in Central Division, Stars, Wild, Avalanche, I think those are pretty much locks. And
it gets weak after those three, for sure.
Coyotes are not. Blackhawks probably aren't either.
No.
Preds?
I don't know if
How's St. Louis? St. Louis
Preds
is
aren't
weirdly losing a lot of guys. And
I
trying to stay relevant.
I don't think the Blues really have anyone anymore.
Torrey Krug, right? He's still there?
They were trying to trade him.
Probably, yeah. I think so. I haven't heard anything about him getting moved.
Big money there, too. But yeah, I like your picks there, Dan.
Maybe the Flames and Kraken will get the 2 wild cards. Cause
the Flames are a good
like
team.
The Predators.
They got talent. They just didn't make it last year. So I was just like, if they didn't make it last year, I'm not going to run with them this year. But I don't know. I read about them today a little. They got Dots
I don't
with
like. Yeah, I don't like the Blues, Jets, or Preds. So.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Preds probably won't make it. Their time's passed, but. What do you got, Mike?
They have a couple good guys, but not much. I mean, just from what I was watching today. I mean, Yossi's still.
Yossi's a star.
Yossi's sick.
Yoshi, now they have Philip Forsberg. They brought in Riley.
Yep.
But they got a few top guys, and then they're pretty thin.
Yeah.
They traded away the kid Janelle. Like maybe in a couple of years, the Preds after they retool with some picks.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Lucy Saros is pretty good, but he's an undersized goalie a little bit.
Yep.
So it's a lot of miles to put on the one guy.
Updated that Penguins Blackhawks game. I don't know if you're watching, but 1-0 Penguins. Brian Russ goal. So there you go.
I picked Penguins, but didn't get me my first goal.
Tough luck there. What do you got for the West, Mike, for your playoff teams? You can just throw them out.
I mean, it's tough to disagree. I think Vegas for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think Seattle definitely is in. Edmonton's definitely in. Dallas is in. Colorado. After that, it's a drop off. Minnesota is good.
Yeah.
LA is okay. They made it last year.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, yeah.
I don't know how many I just listed there, but that's about all I see for feasible teams. I know you mentioned Calgary.
Yeah, I'll probably add Calgary,
so
actually.
Underwhelming.
I forgot. I had Minnesota twice, so I guess Calgary would be the one. I had them as my first one out, but I guess I'll make it in. Which I wasn't really that high. They missed last year, so I was like...
I like Minnesota. I like Kirill. I like I like watching that team.
Mm-hmm.
They usually make it entertaining. Did they lose first round of the playoffs again? Or I think they did. Yes, they did. They played Dallas.
Minnesota did lose first round, yeah.
Yes.
But they won.
They did.
I think the first game, maybe first two.
And then
they had carried the play, and then they just wore down, and Dallas ended up rolling them. So they're missing something over there. Probably mostly to do with defense and goaltending.
Yeah.
But I think Dallas is pretty loaded for the West, and if it's an easier conference, they're gonna do well.
I would agree.
Get some good young talent.
Yeah, so I like.
So Jose, I wanted to ask you, since we were talking about this a couple months ago at the end of the season, we were talking about with the Bruins trading away some money. We were talking about obviously Carlo should have been moved already, and I don't know how he's still with the team making
I think there's
4.5, whatever it is.
They like him because it's not an expensive contract, but also he's a good locker room guy.
Yeah, he's been there for some time too.
I don't know, and he's got size, which is another thing.
It's just he's, in my opinion, just total garbage, worth about 2.5. But,
the target's on the back of him and Grizzly because of the money they make. It's movable.
So I think
it seems like every time the playoff rolls around, they're not.
Yeah.
So, but I think bigger question: do you think Ullmark gets traded at some point?
So here's the thing: my decision.
I'm a swimming guy.
Mike's a swimming guy, so he's going to say yes. I'm going to look at it from a different perspective, where I think it's traded, but not because Swayman, they're pretty similar goalies, right? I look at it from the other way. Do you think Ullmark's going to be able to repeat what he did last year? Yeah, they were both obviously great goalies. It's a great tandem to have. But do you think Ullmark's going to repeat what he did last year? I don't. So I look at it from the perspective of getting max value, and Swayman's a good guy just to step in. Obviously, a young guy that was great last year. So I feel the same way that I did before, that I would trade one of them, and I think Ullmark's the better guy to move. I don't think he repeats what he did last year. But
I don't think he's overpaid.
He's not overpaid. No, he's a great value.
But
Great value for the contract. But the way I feel about it is to have two great goalies. If you could get someone back, the same way with, Varlamov, like we were saying, with Sorokin. I mean, if you can get something back at the deadline or something, if you need a piece, maybe that's something you go and do. But I think the Bruins are in a different position in that regard. Ullmark just won the Vezina, so it's a little bit harder to move him, maybe if you look at it from that perspective. But I said...
Well, it's hard from a PR standpoint.
Yeah, exactly. Fans are going to be...
It's not difficult. There's a team out there that would take Ullmark.
Oh, definitely.
It's easier to take Swayman. And Swayman would probably get you a better return because he's younger.
But I feel the same way that I did, Dan, in April and May that I do now. I don't think he repeats what he did last year. His numbers were all career highs. 46-1, 938 save percentage, 1.89 goals against per game.
I think just without having Bergeron, it's already going to go down.
Oh, yeah. The penalty kill. Think about the penalty kill.
Wins, PK. It's just, we're going to let in more goals.
87% penalty kill last year, which was number one in the NHL. That's not going to be the same this year. So, and then obviously in the playoffs, he was a different goalie.
Last year.
Yeah, you're right. He did score. But he's a different goalie in the playoffs. 896 save percentage, 3 1/3 goals allowed per game. What was he, 3 3? So, I don't know. I don't think he repeats what he did last year.
I think one of the worst things that happened to the Bruins is that Ullmark was so good because they were just so reluctant to go to Swayman in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they didn't go to him until Game 7. And the first goal they did let in was definitely a goal that the guy just – you're throwing him out there into live action with the Panthers are already feeling it. They pushed it to 7.
Yeah, all momentum.
They're sort of humming. They had something going.
Definitely.
They get a goal on him that wasn't the greatest goal. Then he played well the rest of the game and kept them in it.
100%.
He had a few big saves, but you got to throw him in there because Ullmark was dealing with something, right? He was hurt.
He had hip
injury
or something, or back? Yeah, he had some injury.
And we couldn't close out Game 5. Ullmark had to gaff behind the net. I'm not trying to relive it all, but Ullmark did cost them the game. Yeah, peppering them. Panthers only had about 15 shots, but
yeah, you're right.
I would have put Swayman in Game 6 to start.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the momentum was already flipped by the time Game 7 came around. And I wouldn't blame him. I mean, if you look at some of those goals given in Game 7, out of position, a couple of them. McAvoy was out of position on one of those goals. Lindholm, like you said, had a very bad series. Not all those goals were his fault.
They were just whacking the puck. They weren't getting it out of their end.
Exactly.
Gave
up 4 goals in Game 7, but I don't blame him.
Was real for the Panthers, and the Bruins just didn't. They weren't composed.
Yeah.
It sucks.
How do you feel about it, Dan? About those two guys? Would you trade one or keep both?
So I think usually trading Cap away, that's usually more of an off-season thing. So
yeah,
I think Carlo stays, Grzelcyk stays. But I mean, I think you very well could trade Ullmark to a team that is probably not making the playoffs on the outside looking in, that needs a goalie. You trade him there, and you get a second-line center.
Definitely.
And preferably one that's under $5 million, so you don't have to deal with all those cap shenanigans. But even that, you ask him to take a little cap, and you get it done. Because, right now, it's just depth for the Bruins is pretty terrible.
Yeah, especially at center, yeah.
We're trading him to Vancouver. We're going to get Elias Pettersson.
Pettersson's been your boy for some time.
There's some room of him being moved at some point, right? Pettersson.
He wanted more money, didn't he?
I think maybe JT Miller. He just signed his deal.
And he did get paid, though.
He got a ton of money.
That's the reason Horvat had to be moved, right? Because JT the year before did what Horvat did, and he got paid.
Yeah.
Pettersson's a beast, though. Jeez,
I don't know. I think they like Pettersson, but I haven't really been following on them. If they can somehow get him, then absolutely do it.
Only 24 years old, yeah. Whatever you need in that trade, send it.
He's a star, yeah.
Send it, whatever the cost is. But yeah, I would agree with you, Dan, on that. If you could move
Coyle, I don't see them trading him.
Trade Coyle. Yeah, I was saying trade Coyle all summer, and then Mike made the point they don't have any centers, so you really can't trade him. But I guess
here's the crazy. You want to hear a crazy one, Joy? I don't think they could do it. But could you trade Ullmark up to Toronto and bring back
one of their studs?
Bertuzzi, Nylander, or something.
Nylander, yeah. Nylander's a free agent this year, right?
Something like that could happen. That'd be crazy because it's in the division with another team that's definitely going to make the playoffs.
It's a rival, too, right? They always play each other.
Yeah.
It's tough.
We have traded with them. It's not.
Yeah, it's not impossible. You're right.
Bruins have traded with the Canadians. I mean, hey.
It's not impossible. Yeah, you're right. I wouldn't mind that. I think it'd be a great trade for the Bruins. But would you have to give up more than just Ullmark in that deal? If you get a Nylander,
For Nylander, probably.
Probably, right? A little more?
I don't think so for Nylander, actually.
A pick?
Because he gets paid more.
True.
And if he's not going to re-sign because they won't give him the money.
Is he expiring if this year ends?
Ullmark, who's still under contract.
Yeah, good deal.
Goalie, at least last year.
Give me Mitch Marner.
I think they would do it. I think Toronto would do it.
That's not a bad proposal, though.
And Nylander has been better than Mitch Marner in the playoffs.
You're right.
He's been consistent for them, scoring some goals. He's not my favorite guy up there. I think Matthews is the best.
Matthews is the guy, yeah.
We're not getting him, unfortunately.
I would agree with you. They like that guy Samsonov, though. I was reading about him today, too. They liked him.
Yeah.
919 save attempts last year.
The most popular guy on the team in Toronto is always going to be the backup goalie, all right?
Yeah.
Because the starter's always underwhelming.
Jack Campbell, yeah.
Yeah, that's another guy.
Where did he move? I can't remember where he went.
Campbell's still there, I think.
Is he?
No, he's Oilers. Oilers.
Oilers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
Oilers got Skinner.
Skinner, too, yeah, both. And then, yeah, they still got Samsonov of Toronto. But, yeah, Campbell jumped to Edmonton. Which they've had goalie issues for years now, but, I don't know, depth, too, for the Oilers. Similar to Toronto, I guess, right? They pay their top guys, and then there's not enough money to go elsewhere. So.
Yeah, you either get drafted or you got to
pay, or, yeah. If you're going to pay,
it's expensive. A bottle with somebody.
You're right.
It's hard to value goalies in terms of trading with wingers and skaters. It's not always the easiest because I mean, for a team that views Ullmark as what his playoff showing was versus what he was during the year, like who knows what he's going to get, and if he comes out of the gate slow with a worse Bruins team, giving up more shots, what's his value then? So I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah.
He was good up in Buffalo, even on those bad teams, though. I think Jack Eichel, they interviewed him about Ullmark. Like, if we didn't have Ullmark up in Buffalo, these games would have been, 6-2 instead of 3-2. 5-2.
Yeah.
No, goalies are important.
So, I mean, he was good on a team that was much worse than what the Bruins will be this year. I mean, still, I think the best part of the team is still McAvoy. I think overall, he's going to play the most ice time.
Yep.
You got McAvoy and Lindholm. It's not like he's got nothing in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Defensively, we're lacking Bergeron, obviously. But Marchand's always up there in the Selke vote, too. If you ever see the slip, he's usually top 10. We'll see how he does. He's going to hurt this year, too, without Bergeron, of course.
Bergeron's a big loss. Yeah.
A lot of that's from the PK. Those two are a weapon. But
100%.
Yeah.
I think the Bruins will still be pretty decent defensively. Coyle's pretty good on defense, and he did a lot of PK last year.
Definitely.
I think top PK unit will still be good. Defense should be solid.
Will it be 87% like it was last year, though? That's the question. Won't be as good, but
not.
Without Bergeron, it's a big loss, right? He's great. Great in the PK. Marchand's great, too, though, like you said. He's great both ways.
And I don't know what they're going to do without the GOAT, AJ Greer.
Yeah, he's gone, right, on waivers? Someone just picked him up.
Yeah.
But, yeah, sad to see.
We're mourning the loss of Taylor Greer. But there you go.
AJ Greer, another BU guy. We love our BU guys, huh?
I think he was on the BU for like a year and then left. But,
something like that, yeah.
So Coyle was there for like 10 minutes.
Sweeney does love his Hockey East guys. He does. BC's got a good amount. Got 3 of them. 2 or 3, right? From last year, he had 3. So he's got a couple still there, I guess so. And who was there last year? He had that just left. Trying to remember. He was a forward. He had Gasso, Jovic, and then there was one
Kuntar?
Kuntar, there it is, right there. You nailed it. He just signed him, and it's in the AHL now, but Kuntar, the other one, yeah. So he had 3 last year. Still got Gasso there and Jovic, so it's 2. But yeah, they love the Hockey East guys. No Northeastern guys, really. Not many, at least.
Oh, maybe Mason Laura makes the team, too. They've been talking about him. Big defenseman from Ohio State.
Mm-hmm. What about Mark McLaughlin? Get McLaughlin up there. It's my boy.
I have no doubt that he'll play some games, but we'll see.
He'll start in the AHL. I mean, that's realistic, but hopefully at some point mid-season if there's an injury or somebody makes his way in.
I mean, it's probably good for McLaughlin that Greer is got picked up.
For sure.
It's one less guy in front of him. Yeah.
Yeah, unless like grinder.
True. Yeah. Hopefully he makes it up. You know my dad's the biggest fan of him. But anyways, before I let you guys go, do you guys want to give your NHL Stanley Cup predictions? You got two teams that you think, one team over the other. Who do you like?
Ooh.
Which mine are, you guys already, neither one of you liked my team. I had winning, so you're not going to be happy with my pick. This is who I want to win. Who I think's going to win doesn't always go that way. This is who I want to win. I got the Oilers winning, which very unlikely, but that's what I want to win. So,
I mean, it should be the most likely. They got McDavid,
but no, every year it's the same thing for them though. They don't really have the depth and obviously defense and goaltending, you know. But the two best players, two of the best, I should say. McDavid's obviously the best, and then obviously Draisaitl's right up there too. But so I got the Oilers winning. I had over Carolina originally. I was flipping between Carolina, Toronto, back and forth. I ended up choosing Toronto. So here we are. Oilers over Toronto. That's what I want. What I think will happen, I think Dallas ends up winning. That's what I think. What I want, though, is
I was going to say Dallas.
I like it. I like Dallas. Dallas over Carolina? Okay. Okay,
I think Carolina could beat them, but
I think it'd be a good match.
I don't know. Actually, that's a good one.
That'd be a good one.
It's probably better than whoever Carolina has, but
that'd be
Carolina's
a good one.
got Orlov now. They're kind of loaded down there.
Yeah, I was flip-flopping Carolina and Toronto, but I ended up going Toronto. But I do like Dallas, though.
Bobby Orlov.
Bobby Orlov, GOAT. Go. What do you got, Dan? You know? It's fine if you don't.
I'm going to go a little crazy here. I'm going to go LA over Devils.
Okay. Kings, I like it.
Of, what was that, 2012? That was the 2012 final. That's the same result.
I love it. I love it. Why not? We do these predictions anyways just to throw them out there. You got some hot takes in there. Yeah. Every year, everyone always makes the same predictions in the NBA and all that. You know, it's always the Chiefs versus Eagles.
Straight out of the box,
NFL.
I would say Kraken.
Okay.
Kraken
all right.
make it from the East.
We can give a couple, yeah. So we've given, Dan had his, out-of-the-box one. You're giving yours right now. I'll give my out-of-the-box one, I guess, is the one I already had. Toronto making it with Edmonton, two teams that are cursed in the playoffs. So I already have mine there. So Orioles over Toronto. What I think happens, I think Seattle, no, not Seattle. You said Seattle. Dallas over Carolina, but I would like Edmonton. But what do you got, Mike, for your crazy one?
Kraken over Pittsburgh.
Dan, what's your realistic one? So you got your out-of-the-box one. You can give another one, even if it's the same as what you already said, whatever it may be. But that's what I did with the NFL. I had a prediction that I wanted to happen, and then one that I thought would happen in my predictions. Which the one I thought would happen was Miami over San Francisco. It's looking pretty good right now, even though Miami did get blown out a couple weeks ago versus Buffalo. But what do you got, Dan?
I mean, I think
you can roll with the
Stars are
same
really
one.
good.
Sabres?
Stars are really good.
Oh, Stars, okay.
And I think probably most likely is either Hurricanes or Leafs.
Okay.
I think that's a pretty cold take.
I like it. No, I like that, though. Solid.
And, I mean, Leafs making it out of the first round is a hot take.
Yeah, that's why that was my out-of-the-pocket one.
Last year, but then what? They pretty much got swept on a 5-game series against the Panthers.
First time winning a series, 20 years it was? Yeah. So, I guess that was a win in its own, but... obviously, there's a hot take, I guess, for me, Edmonton and Toronto both making it in. Even though they're both kind of like favorites, people do like both of them. For them to both make it same year, probably unlike considering how successful they've been in the playoffs recently. But I do wish well for those two teams. I do like having out of the pocket prediction though, and one that you want to see. I guess they're the same. And then one that you think will happen.
I just don't like the Oilers making it that far. I just think defensively they just have no one.
Yeah, it's the same problem every year for them. I would agree. That's why
I just think that the Oilers have terrible. They match up poorly against Vegas. They don't match up great against even the Kraken.
Dallas. Dallas matches up better.
Colorado. Dallas. They don't even match up that well against the top teams in the West.
Yeah, you're right.
So.
I would agree with you there. I would agree. I like our predictions though. And then one last thing. Who do you guys have for the Hart Trophy, which I said MVP originally. Mike got mad about that, but it's MVP in every other sport. So I know it's a little different here. Okay. You going with him?
I mean, Pasto's up there, but
Pasto is up there. A lot of people like him. I saw people predicting him.
Matthews. I'll say Matthews.
Okay. I like that. I was kind of tiptoeing between Matthews and McDavid. I chose McDavid, but
I think if the Atlantic, if the top of the Atlantic, like Bruins and Bolts, are going to be a little bit weakened to start the year, and the Leafs start out hot. Usually, Hart Trophy goes to a guy on a good team. I think the 1 year McDavid led the league in points but didn't win that trophy was because they didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah. It's a difference.
And if Matthews goes and gets another 50, 60 goals.
So my fault. I apologize. We're back here with the recording. Technical difficulties. My computer's got to probably go out the window and I was going to restart, but I do apologize for that, boys. But appreciate you guys staying with me. Mike was saying Toronto that you were talking about them in Matthews' goal scoring. So you had him as your pick to win the Hart Trophy. So
yeah, I mean, easy pick for MVP in any sport is like best player on the best team is always going to get consideration. So
definitely.
If they run away with, a President's Trophy type run and he's their top scorer, he's going to get a lot of consideration. And Toronto's it's a hockey hub up there. Well, the hub of hockey is here, but the Canadians.
Definitely.
Canadian people.
What about you, Dan?
Big
What do you got?
spotlight on Toronto.
I would agree with you on that one.
So we were talking a bit of a hot take. I said maybe Jack Hughes gets in the conversation this year.
Okay, I like that.
He had 99 points last year, 43 goals. Maybe he gets up to 50.
I like that. Why not?
Get the 100, get the 50, and
Then anything's possible in that case. You could probably win it. I like Tage Thompson. That was another guy I was tiptoeing, which I had him getting, what do they call it, the Rocket Award, most goals. I had him getting that. I had him getting that. So I like that, though. Similar to Hughes and also same thing with Thompson. Two guys, very talented young players, both can score a ton. Tage really broke out last year, 47 goals. He was unreal.
Nuts. Yeah.
But I like that pick.
Really out of nowhere.
Yeah, I didn't expect that at all either. I mean, that was a guy I saw play when he played against Northeastern. He was on UConn, and I remember he's a big name, and College Chuck's a big dude. Obviously could score goals. And when he played Northeastern, I don't really think he did much. And that's why the last couple of years in the NHL, I saw his name and stuff. And then last year, there was a one game, he had 4 goals in a period. And I was like, geez, dude, that was nuts. Was it 5 goals in a period? That was something wild.
Oh, yeah, 5 goals in the game, I think.
Okay, yeah. I think he had 3 or 4 in the first period. It was wild, but he had quite a run there. But I like that pick, though, Hughes, Dan. I know you've been a fan of him for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's real good. I mean, I think he's definitely best in the family. Like, that's no question.
I'd agree.
But, I mean, that entire family's, sick.
Yeah, hockey family is sick.
Maybe Luke becomes a regular for the Devils. We'll see. I don't want to speak too soon, but that's what it's looking like.
A lot of young talent in that family, yeah.
He's got the biggest frame, right? He's a little taller than Quinn and Jack.
He's a little bigger.
Yeah, Luke is, what is he, 6'3", 6'4"?
6'2", 6'3", I think.
I know he's 140 pounds, but...
yeah. Very talented family, though, yeah. Big names in college hockey over the last couple of years.
He's 6'2", 180.
That's what I know, 6'2", 6'3", yeah. But yeah, he's good, though.
But yeah, he's a bigger guy. Great offensive mind there. I mean, him and what's his name, Nemitz. I don't know if Nemitz is going to be up this year
another
for the
young
Devils,
talent there, another top pick too. He's good.
But they could take care of that defensive problem.
Definitely. That's the thing. The Devils have a lot of young talent.
Over in Jersey.
They'll be good for years. The Devils. This isn't their making.
Them and the Sabres. Give it another year or two, and
definitely
they might be top 2 in the East.
I like that. You beast. I like that.
With the Sabres too, they got Darlene Power. I know Darlene, we said he's a little overrated, but doesn't hurt to have a couple picks.
Yeah,
defensemen. And then Tage, I mean, he looks like a top pick, so.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely got some studs. Defense is usually the key to win.
Mm-hmm.
Get the playoffs and win in the playoffs.
100%. It's a big difference.
Those big defensemen. Look at Hedman for Tampa. I mean, he's a force.
You need that, yeah. Guy can hit, dump the puck.
I know he's not a big guy, but dominant team men, they do well.
Definitely.
Tough to contend with those teams.
Today's day for sure. Anything else you guys want to add in? I don't want to take up too much more of your time. We already had one technical difficulty, so I do apologize for that. But anything you guys want to add in? Awards? Anything you want to talk about?
We're looking for Pasta to repeat 60. I want him to get the Rocket shot, I hope.
Okay, I like that.
David cheated.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see. I guess hot take for me for Isles. Let's see if Ollie can stay healthy, Oliver Wahlstrom, and score 20-25. Let's see.
I like it. I mean, if he's out there healthy, he had a couple goals last year. He's out there healthy, it'd make a difference. I like that. My hot take, I don't know. I was going to say Levi being the Rookie of the Year, but probably getting the Calder Award. It's probably tough him getting that. But I think he'll be in the mix. I think he's a dark horse candidate for it. I know Bedard's probably the easy favorite, I'd imagine. I'm checking the odds, but I imagine he's probably the easy favorite. Levi, I don't know where he'd be, but I'd like him, though, to be. That's one award I wish I looked more into. But Levi would be in consideration, I think. And then one guy, Logan Cooley, which I was showing Mike a couple of his goals at the BC football game a couple weeks ago. He's my boy. I think he'll be right up there, too. Those are my top three right there. But Bedard probably wins it because he's the favorite. Typically, those guys, top pick especially, all the eyes will be on them. But I think Cooley, Levi, those two guys will have big years. At least I hope, especially for Levi's sake. Northeast Husky there. So we'll see. But we'll get you boys on next couple months, maybe a month or two into the season. Have some more thoughts. Maybe we're months away from the trade deadline, but maybe in a couple months we'll know where teams are at to know what we'd want at the deadline. But but thank you guys for taking the time. Much appreciated always. Two of the best in the business, Dan the Man, the King of Hasbrouck Heights, Behrens, and then we got Mike Hurley, the sports guru. The two best in the business. What a pleasure it is. So thank you guys for taking the time.
Thanks for having me, Joey.
For our teams to get in the playoffs. For God's sake.
Hey, Bruins, Isles, they match up in the playoffs again. We'll be there. I know that.
Yeah.
I know that.
Gotta.
But thank you guys. I much appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night and definitely talk to you guys again soon.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Take care, boys. Thank you.
Hey, boys.
Bye-bye. So there you have it. There was the sports guru, Mike Hurley, with Dan the Man, the King of Hasbrouck Heights, Behrens. Much appreciated for both of them taking the time to come on. Always great talking sports with those two guys. They know hockey better than anybody I know. And I'm very thankful for them to take the time and come on here, give their predictions on the season and their thoughts on the offseason, and obviously talking about the Bruins and the Isles, their two favorite teams. That was great having them on. One thing I wanted to end with was a couple awards I didn't really get to mention with them, which the Vezina Trophy, I have Sorokin winning of the Islanders. Big fan of him. The Calder Trophy, I'm going to Connor Bedard, but two dark horse candidates that I mentioned. Devin Levi, I think he'll be right there. The issue is a goalie hasn't won the Calder Trophy since 2009. So obviously it's an uphill battle there for Levi, considering how much of an adjustment it is from college hockey to the NHL or juniors to the NHL for a lot of guys. That's why there's not many of them that win that, but I think he can make a difference right away for Buffalo, and I think he makes them a playoff team right from the get-go. So I have Devin Levi being right there as a dark horse candidate. I do like Logan Cooley a lot. I think he's a stud. I think he's going to do big things in the NHL. For the Hart Memorial Trophy MVP, I went with McDavid. And then for the top goal scorer in the NHL, I ended up going with Tage Thompson. I think Austin Matthews and Connor McDavid will be right there. The Selke Award, I went with Mitch Marner. The James Norris Trophy, given to the best defenseman, I went with Erik Karlsson. And the Jack Adams Award for the top head coach in the NHL, I give to Jay Woodcroft of the Edmonton Oilers. For my playoff teams, I already mentioned them. Top three seeds in the Atlantic, I have the Maple Leafs, Lightning, Bruins. Top three in the Metro, I have Carolina, the Devils, and the Pittsburgh Penguins. And then in my Eastern Conference, two extra wildcard teams, I have Buffalo and the Islanders. In the West, I have the top three seeds of the Pacific being Edmonton, Vegas, and Seattle. The top three in the Central being Dallas, Minnesota, and Colorado. And then my two wildcard teams in the Western Conference, I have the LA Kings. And then I wasn't going to go with the Calgary Flames. They missed the playoffs last year. But considering I named Minnesota twice by accident in my predictions, I'll give Calgary the benefit of the doubt there with them making it in. As for who I think is going to win the NHL Stanley Cup, my prediction for the one that was a hot take is Edmonton over Toronto. Two favorites to win this year, but considering how poor they've both done in the playoffs over the years, it's kind of a hot take. They've both been very unlucky and cursed in the playoffs. For another matchup that I'd like to see, which that was the matchup I'd like to see, but another one that I could see happen that a lot of people probably could see as well is Dallas over Carolina. I think Dallas is going to be a very good team this year and a team to watch out for. In the East, I have Toronto over Carolina. And then in the West, I have Edmonton over Dallas, leaving Edmonton to be the last team standing over Toronto in the Stanley Cup Finals. That'd be a great matchup. If you look at Edmonton, their issue has been goaltending, depth, and defense. Obviously, Jack Campbell is now their goalie, 21-9-4 last year, the 3.41 goals against average with an 888 save percentage. Stuart Skinner, he's still there, 29-14-5 last year with 2.75 goals against him and a 913 save percentage. They have two of the best talents in the NHL, and Leon Draisaitl and also Connor McDavid. McDavid's the best player in the NHL. That's why I want to see those two guys win. Two very great talents that haven't been able to figure things out there and haven't had much playoff success in Edmonton. If you look at it, I think it's very similar to the Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout situation, two of the best talents in the sport. but neither pairing has a World Series championship nor a Stanley Cup trophy to their name. So I'll be rooting for Edmonton to go there and win. I think Edmonton's very similar to the Angels, except the Edmonton Oilers have made the playoffs over the years and have been competing at least in the playoffs. The Angels haven't had any success in the playoffs with Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout, have never even made the playoffs with both those guys in their roster. But two very similar situations, two great talents on each of those teams, and haven't had any success in trying to win a championship and getting them both a ring. I would root for Edmonton to do that this year. If you look at Toronto, very good team. Mitch Marner, John Tavares, William Nylander, Tyler Bertuzzi, Samsonov and net, 27-10-5 last year, 2.33 goals against, and a .919 save percentage. I'd be rooting for Edmonton. I'll be rooting for Toronto. And then the other matchup that I did mention was Dallas over Carolina, which is another matchup I could see happen, but I was rooting more for the Edmonton prediction. So I'm going to go with Edmonton over Toronto for my prediction, with the other one being Dallas over the Carolina Hurricanes, which that's what I did in the NFL predictions before the season began. I gave a prediction that I'd like to see, a couple matchups I'd like to see, and then one that I think will happen. That's one that I just gave, one that I'd like to see, and one that I think would happen, except that Edmonton and Toronto prediction kind of fits both of those categories. I'm just rooting for them both to have some playoff success this season. Anyways, I will conclude this episode. Thank you so much, Mike and Dan, for taking time to come on here. Dan, the man, the king of Hasbrouck Heights, and then obviously Mike Hurley, sports guru. Two of the best in the business. Much appreciated having them on. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to this. As always, I appreciate it. I hope you guys have a good one. I will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you.